How does a college prank turn into a trillion-dollar company? How does a hoodie-wearing dropout become one of the most powerful people on the planet? And what happens when the platform that once connected college kids becomes the world's political battleground? Now imagine building something so powerful that it connects over 3 billion people, more than the population of every country on Earth combined. That's what Mark Zuckerberg did. What started as a side project in a Harvard dorm room became Facebook, and eventually Meta, one of the most influential and controversial companies in modern history. Today, it stands as a trillion-dollar empire that not only dominates social media, but also shapes global politics, advertising, and the future of technology. But behind the likes, shares, and billions in ad revenue lies a story of betrayal, ambition, lawsuits, and a gamble on the next big frontier, the metaverse. This is Stag Research, and today we're breaking down the rise of Facebook, the fortune of Mark Zuckerberg, and whether Meta will dominate the next era or collapse under its own weight. Mark Elliott Zuckerberg was born on May 14, 1984, in White Plains, New York, into a well-educated family. He grew up in the comfortable suburbs of Dobbs Ferry, alongside his 3 sisters, raised in a Jewish household by parents who valued education and intellect. His father, Edward, was a dentist, and his mother, Karen, was a psychiatrist. From a young age, Mark was a tech prodigy. By middle school, he was already programming computers and building games. His father noticed his talent early, and even hired a software developer to tutor him privately. Zuckerberg attended Phillips Exeter Academy, an elite prep school in New Hampshire, where he excelled in Latin, fencing, and of course, coding. One of his earliest creations was a messaging tool he built for his father's dental office, allowing the receptionist to alert him of new patients. This was before AOL Instant Messenger was even mainstream. By the time Zuckerberg entered Harvard in 2002, he was already known as a gifted coder with a rebellious streak. He quickly gained a reputation as a programming prodigy, but also a bit of a troublemaker. Instead of destroying his future, it marked the beginning of something bigger. At Harvard, he quickly made his mark with 2 small but revealing projects. One was Course Match, a program that allowed students to choose classes based on what their friends were taking. The other was Face Mash, a controversial site that let students rate each other's attractiveness based on their dorm photos. Face Mash nearly got him expelled, but it also showed his ability to build viral products that spread like wildfire. That same skill would soon lead him to something much bigger, something that would reshape the world. In 2003, Zuckerberg was approached by 3 Harvard classmates, twins Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss and Divya Narendra. They had an idea for a social networking site called Harvard Connection, which would eventually evolve into Connect to You. They asked Zuckerberg to code their project. Instead, Zuckerberg went his own way. In February 2004, from his dorm room, he launched a new website called The Facebook. It was designed to be a digital directory of Harvard students, allowing them to post profiles and connect with each other. The site took off instantly. Within a month, over half of Harvard's student body had joined. Soon, it spread to other Ivy League schools, then across the country, and eventually around the globe. The growth was exponential, and Zuckerberg's focus became clear: scale first, worry about the rest later. Eduardo Saverin, his classmate, became Facebook's first financier, putting up initial funding. Sean Parker, co-founder of Napster, soon entered the picture, becoming a mentor and convincing Zuckerberg to move to Silicon Valley. By 2005, Facebook was no longer just a Harvard experiment. It was a cultural phenomenon. It was sleek, exclusive, and addictive. Saverin put up the initial seed money. Moskowitz handled engineering. Hughes helped with outreach. Zuckerberg, he wrote the code and steered the ship. As Facebook grew, so did the drama. The Winklevoss twins and Divya Narendra accused Zuckerberg of stealing their idea. They sued, claiming he had led them on while secretly building Facebook. They claimed he had agreed to build their project, Harvard Connection, but instead launched Facebook. The case eventually settled in 2008. The Winklevoss twins received $65 million in cash and Facebook stock, worth billions today. But the real falling out came between Zuckerberg and Eduardo Saverin. As Facebook expanded, Saverin was pushed out of the company. His shares were diluted. In response, he sued Zuckerberg. They too reached a settlement, and Saverin's name was restored to the masthead as co-founder. Today, Saverin lives in Singapore and is a billionaire investor. In 2004, PayPal co-founder Peter Thiel invested $500,000 for a 10% stake, giving Facebook its first major backing. By 2006, Facebook opened to everyone over the age of 13. That same year, Zuckerberg turned down a $1 billion acquisition offer from Yahoo. It was the right move. By 2007, Microsoft invested $240 million for a 1.6% stake, valuing the company at $15 billion. Facebook had gone from dorm room idea to one of the fastest-growing companies in the world. Yet for Zuckerberg, this was just the beginning. The site hit 100 million users by 2008, and by 2010, it had become the world's largest social network. Facebook's growth strategy was relentless. They expanded aggressively and copied or crushed competitors. Zuckerberg's motto: move fast and break things. In 2012, Facebook went public with one of the largest tech IPOs in history, raising $16 billion. It gave Facebook a valuation of over $100 billion. But the stock struggled at first, dipping below its IPO price. Critics argued that Facebook was overvalued, a fad that would fade. Zuckerberg, wearing a hoodie, rang the opening bell at Nasdaq, a symbol of how tech had officially taken over Wall Street. He became one of the youngest self-made billionaires in history. His net worth today fluctuates with Meta's stock price, but it regularly places him among the world's richest individuals, often above $100 billion. That same year, Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion. Just 2 years later, it acquired WhatsApp for $19 billion, cementing Facebook's dominance in global communication, and Oculus, betting big on virtual reality as the next frontier. Many scoffed at the prices, but in hindsight, they were genius moves. By the late 2010, Facebook controlled the largest social media platforms in the world, with billions of users across Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. It had become not just a company, but a digital empire. Today, Meta sits among the top of the corporate food chain as a trillion-dollar company, cementing Zuckerberg's creation as one of the most valuable businesses in human history. Zuckerberg also tried to acquire Snapchat. When Evan Spiegel refused, Facebook simply copied Snapchat's core features, like stories, and embedded them into Instagram. Despite its success, Facebook's reputation started to take a hit. The biggest blow came in 2018 with the Cambridge Analytica scandal. It was revealed that the personal data of up to 87 million Facebook users had been harvested without consent and used to influence political campaigns, including the 2016 US presidential election. Zuckerberg was dragged in front of Congress. Public trust plummeted, and the phrase surveillance capitalism entered the mainstream. Other scandals followed. The platform's role in spreading misinformation, election interference allegations of enabling genocide in Myanmar. Internal whistleblowers revealing Facebook prioritized profit over user safety. The once heroic company now found itself painted as a villain. In 2021, Zuckerberg made a bold move. He announced that Facebook was rebranding to Meta. The move was framed as a bold pivot to the future, building the metaverse, a virtual reality version of the internet. But critics saw it as a distraction, a rebranding effort to distance the company from its controversies. Meta poured billions into building this virtual world and AI, but results have been mixed. VR adoption has been slow, and many wonder if the metaverse is a real future or just science fiction. The bet was enormous. If successful, Meta could dominate the next generation of the internet. But if it failed, the company risked burning through cash, while competitors like Apple, Google, and TikTok surged ahead. In 2022, Meta's stock plummeted, wiping out hundreds of billions in market value. Investors questioned whether Zuckerberg's gamble would pay off. Yet, even as Meta struggled with its futuristic vision, its core business, advertising on Facebook and Instagram, continued generating massive profits, keeping the trillion-dollar company standing strong. Despite this, Meta still owns 3 of the top social media platforms on the planet: Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. And for investors who got in early, the numbers are staggering. If you had bought Facebook stock at its IPO in May 2012, priced at $38 per share, your investment would have multiplied many times over. A $10,000 stake at the IPO would be worth nearly $200,000, a testament to one of tech's most explosive growth stories, turning early believers into outright wealth generators, even after the company's ups and downs. Although Meta faced volatility and skepticism, its core advertising business remained highly profitable, ensuring the company retained its trillion-dollar-plus valuation. This blend of risk, reward, and resilience defines Zuckerberg's empire, which raises the question, can Meta reinvent itself yet again, or has its glory already peaked? Beyond business, Zuckerberg has built a personal life. He owns a sprawling real estate empire, including properties in Hawaii, California, and Lake Tahoe. He's also a philanthropist. Along with his wife, Priscilla Chan, he launched the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative to fund science, education, and criminal justice reform. Zuckerberg has evolved from an awkward college coder to a disciplined, competitive CEO. He's even taken up MMA and jiu-jitsu. Still, he remains one of the most controversial figures in tech, praised for his vision, criticized for his power. Meta's business is built on advertising. Nearly all its revenue, over $130 billion annually, comes from targeted ads. The company uses vast amounts of user data to sell ads more effectively than almost anyone else. With billions of users across its platforms, Meta has created one of the most sophisticated ad engines in history. It has also invested heavily in AI, virtual reality, Oculus Quest, and messaging. But with new competition from TikTok and regulatory pressure mounting globally, the future isn't guaranteed. Still, Meta remains one of the most valuable companies in the world, with a market cap north of $1 trillion. So what is Facebook's legacy? It connected billions. It changed how we communicate. It gave rise to influencers, misinformation, and digital addiction. Zuckerberg changed the world, but not always for the better. Whether Meta's bet on the metaverse pays off or not, one thing is clear. Facebook was one of the most consequential inventions of the 21st century. And Mark Zuckerberg? Love him or hate him, he's not done yet. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this origin story, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Stag Research, your go-to channel for business deep dives and founder legacies. Got a hot take on Meta's future? Drop it in the comments. Mr. Stag, logging off.